What's going on there, everyone? Alright, continuing the theme of last night's, or yesterday's, climate change debate town hall with the Democratic 2020 presidential nominees. Viewers horrified as Biden's eye fills with blood during incoherent debate appearance. Which, incoherence seems to be a reoccurring trend with old Joe Biden. Which is, it's something that we got to actually take into account. Look what happened in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, although when she was speaking, she could generally hold herself together fairly well. But her health became a big concern with her shaking and just being very strange from time to time. Well, we're seeing this with Biden now. First, they want to call him, simple gaffes. Oh, he's gaffing. He just made an error. I think it's much more than that, and I think it's starting to become way more clear to way more people that this is not the situation. These aren't just gaffes. There might be actually something wrong with Joe Biden. But let's get into the story here. Joe Biden's left eye filled with blood on Wednesday night as he struggled through his appearance in CNN's 7-hour climate change debate. 7 hours, I think anybody would struggle to get through that, especially from CNN. Sometimes I just torture myself by trying to watch 30 minutes of CNN's coverage, and it's just awful. Awful. On the stage in New York, Biden touted his ambitious climate change plan, which calls for $1.7 trillion in spending and tax, or fee, on planet-warming pollution with the aim of getting to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. However, he was put on the defensive by a series of tough questions. Is your plan aggressive enough? Anderson Cooper, one of the moderators asked in his opening question. You know what I don't understand about this whole climate change debate on how we're going to do this, that, and the other? Everyone on the Democratic side's really against nuclear power. When nuclear power seems to be one of the safest and a net carbon emissions of zero. But they don't like nuclear power for some reason. I don't get that. Yes, nuclear energy and, atomic energy can be dangerous. But we're America. We kind of invented it. We know a lot about it and we're pretty good at it. I'm just saying. It works really well. And we could actually, be energy independent and producing net zero carbon emissions if we would just switch over to pure nuclear power. But they don't want to do that. Yes, I think it's aggressive enough. It's gotten good reviews from most of the environmental community, Biden said. Some of the 9 other Democratic candidates who appeared in the back-to-back town halls proposed plans that would cost trillions of dollars more with earlier deadlines for zeroing out carbon emissions. More than half joined Biden in endorsing taxes or fees such as pollution. Or on such pollution, He highlighted his role in negotiating the Paris Agreement and, like nearly all candidates, pledged to re-enter the deal on day one. There's a reason we got out of that Paris Climate Accord. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, I encourage you just to do some research on the Paris Climate Accord. An audience member asked Biden how he can be trusted to stand up to fossil fuel companies when he reportedly plans to attend a fundraiser on Thursday hosted by Andrew Goldman, a co-founder of Western LNG, a liquefied natural gas production company. Appearing surprised, Biden protested. He's not a fossil fuel executive, before recounting his story or his history of fighting corporate polluters. Pressed about Goldman's job, Biden said, "I didn't realize he does that." He said he would look into whether the fundraiser violated his pledge to not accept money from fossil fuel companies. On fracking, Biden said he opposes new drilling on federal lands, but not a nationwide ban. He also said he would assess the safety of existing wells and try to change the attitude of governors and state legislatures to restrict drilling on state lands. At another point, Biden tried to push back against left-wing pessimism, citing his plans for clean energy research and development. We're the United States of America, and there's not a damn thing we can't do once we set our minds to it, he said. Well, that is true. I'll give him that. We are awesome. As a whole, America and Americans are awesome. Commentators worry about Joe Biden as his eyes fill with blood. Liberal commentators widely panned Biden's performance. Feminist Rutgers University professor Naomi Klein referenced the Democratic frontrunner's eyeballs to criticize him for being too moderate on climate change and taking money from Goldman. Ay, ay, ay. It's funny how this is their big criticism of Biden. Naomi Klein. Biden just confirmed he opposes banning fracking on state and national level, a measure Germany and France introduced a long time ago. They're also not energy independent. Not at all. The fact that his fundraiser tomorrow night is put on by an executive up to his eyeballs in fracking gas is totally unrelated. Well, see, when it comes to France and Germany, Germany has to import a lot of its energy. It's a big problem over there. They're having real big issues with it. And France uses nuclear energy. They get most of their energy from nuclear. That's how they've done that. But yet, over here in America, these progressives don't like nuclear energy. That's a problem. Progressive journalist Jordan Sheraton called Biden's comment about fracking a rambling and incoherent mess. Honestly, the more he talks, the more it is clear he is declining cognitively rapidly, Sheraton said. It's irresponsible of the Democratic Party and the media to pretend these are gaffes. He is not well. Well, there's something me and a progressive can agree on. These aren't, like I said, I don't think these are just gaffes. The man's getting very old. He's gone through a lot in his life. And it's definitely waned heavy on him. Even Biden's attempt at optimism was received with scorn by some on the left, including the press secretary for Senate Bernie Sanders, a Vermont independent and fellow Democratic candidate. He's a socialist. He is a socialist candidate. All the while, many Twitter users were transfixed with horror by Biden's bloodshot eye. The conservatives took particular interest. Hey guys, Joe Biden's eye filled with blood while on stage at CNN Town Hall. This is not a Photoshop. From Benny Johnson. Is Joe Biden okay? Asked students for Trump, a campus group that supports the president. Here you go, a medical explanation. The Washington Examiner reported that Biden appeared to have burst a blood vessel. A broken blood vessel in the eye, also known as a subconjunctival hemorrhage, can be caused by several things, including high blood pressure, bleeding disorders, blood thinners, or even excessive straining, the newspaper explained. Now that's something to be said right here. Could he have high blood pressure? He could. He could have any one of these situations. But what I think is it's the stress. Now, Joe Biden's running for president of the United States. A very stressful job, especially if you're a guy from the left who wants to change everything. That means there's going to be a lot of court battles, a lot of fights, a lot of this, that, and the other. Is Biden going to be able to actually physically handle that? Is he going to be able to handle the stresses that come with this position? You know, when he was vice president, it's not too hard of a job. Generally, they don't have to do much of anything except sit there and smile while the actual president speaks. But being the man, being the man in charge is a whole, man or woman, is a whole different ballgame. The level of stress is increased 10,000 fold. Could he actually handle this? And would he portray a strong president during these situations? I don't think he could. I think being president would be detrimental to his already what appears to be failing health. But that's just my opinion. The report went on to detail Biden's history of health issues dating back to 1988, when the then senator nearly died of an aneurysm, and mounting concerns over his mental acuity at age 76. Now, that's a big concern. His mental acuity is a very big concern because, this guy's got to talk to other nations' leaders. He has to travel all the time. I just don't think he can handle it. I know everyone, a lot of left-leaning people always say, well, look at Trump. He's in his 70s. He's old too. Yeah, but he's doing a real good job of holding it together. Like, the media just came out, I think it was last week or the week before, and they were freaking out how most presidents age dramatically while they're in the presidency. Trump has not. That's because Trump deals with stress, I think, in a whole different way from us. I think he just lets it roll off his back for the most part. He doesn't age. The guy's awesome. If Biden is nominated, his possibly failing brain will be the Hillary Clinton email story of 2016 all over again, Cooper said. While Biden was on stage, his campaign, which has insisted he is a picture of health, sought to make light of his eye condition with a woke tweet. We can't turn a blind eye to the way in which environmental burdens are distributed unevenly along racial and socio-economic lines, it said. How many other people, I'd love to hear this in the comments, how many other people are so sick of everything going back to race? Everything. Every single talking point of the left goes back to race. These aren't race issues. These are world issues. There's so many different races in the world. Come on, people. Stop being so dang ignorant. I'm sick of hearing it. All it does is make y'all seem pathetic. That's your argument. That's the argument that you have to go back to whenever you're losing a debate or anything like that. You go to, oh, racist, this, that, and the other. Shut up. No one cares anymore. You've literally taken all the power away from that word. No one cares. Sorry. Might as well retire that word. Last October, a major intergovernmental panel on climate change predicted that the global temperatures would rise by 1.5 degrees Celsius, or 14 degrees Fahrenheit, between 2030 and 2052. Climate scientists have identified the 1.5 degree increase as the threshold at which there is no turning back the damage to the planet. However, that would not make the planet uninhabitable to humans. Rather, the report warned that if countries do not slash their reliance on fossil fuels 45% by 2030 and essentially to zero by 2052, the world may become less hospitable to their current way of life, with higher sea levels, hotter heat waves, and more extreme disasters. In other words, if the scientists are right, if human life continues as is, and if a technological solution is not found, people are going to pay a price, which the report set at $54 trillion. I just don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. A lot of the predictions about climate change and global warming have all been false. They really have. In the 70s, it was global cooling. The 70s and 80s, I believe. It was global cooling is an existential threat. And then Al Gore got popular, and global warming became the new thing. And now it's just climate change. They had to move away from global warming because throughout the years and the models, it didn't line up. It just didn't line up. I think it's safe to say we just don't know. This Earth it's been around a lot longer than us, and it'll be around a lot longer than us. You know, it's just, it kind of has a way of finding its own equilibrium. It's really good at it. I mean, we don't give the Earth enough credit. It regulates itself very well. I mean, sure, do we have an impact? Probably. Most likely. Everything that is anything has an impact on something. But is it as bad as these progressive and climate change people say? I doubt that. I seriously doubt that. Like I said, statistically, most of everything they've said has been wrong. But no one ever points this out or calls these people out on it. But yes, well, I'm for, change to help the climate situation and all that. I'm for it. But not when it's going to cause or bankrupt a nation. Not when it's going to just destroy the way our economy works and all that. I'm not for that. If you can find, there are probably much simpler answers than what these people are proposing. Some of them are proposing absolute nonsense. In my previous video, Bernie Sanders is proposing taxpayer-funded abortions in foreign nations. American taxpayer-funded abortions for foreign nations. It kind of seems to me like they're just using climate change as a way to, be kind of a dictator for the whole world. I don't know. I'd love to hear your comments on this or any of the climate change issues. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you on the flip side.